Hello, my name is Carrie Brown and I am with the Central Mississippi Regional Library System. Today I'm going to be reading to you chapters 7 and 8 of A to Z Mysteries, The Lucky Lottery. Written by Ron Roy, illustrated by John Stephen Gurney, published by Random House, New York. Chapter 7. Soon Dink and Josh could follow Ruth Rose across her backyard without falling. "You guys learned fast," she said. "Why don't we ski to the fitness center? We can show Josh's picture around the bowling alley." The kids skied around the school. Pal bounded after them, leaping high in the snow. When they reached Main Street, they waited for a snowplow to pass, then skied across to the other side. They stopped near the corner of Bridge Lane and Main. A man carrying a heavy-looking satchel and a pair of snowshoes came out at the fitness center. The man smiled at the kids. "Nice day to be out in the snow," he said. "We just learned how to ski," Josh said. The man flopped his snowshoes onto the snowy sidewalk and tried to strap them onto his boots with one hand. "Can I hold your bag for you?" Dink asked. "Thanks," the man said. "Don't drop it on your toe. It's my bowling ball." "Do you belong to a bowling team?" Josh asked. "Yep, I bowl with the Green Lawn Giants," he said. "Why, you thinking of joining a kids' league?" "No, but we were wondering if you know this guy." Josh pulled out his drawing of Joe and showed it to the man. The man said, studying the picture. "He's not on our team, but he looks familiar." "His name is Joe," Ruth Rose said. The man shook his head and clicked his tongue. "I'm pretty sure I've seen this face before," he said. "Why don't you ask inside?" "Thanks, we will," Dink said. The man finished strapping on his snowshoes and took back his bowling ball. "Thank you for your help," he said, then clomped down Main Street. The kids brushed the snow off a bench and sat to remove their skis. They carried the skis and poles into the fitness center and walked down a set of stairs. Pal trotted right behind them. 2 long bowling lanes took up most of the basement. A bunch of men and women were bowling. Some of them wore shirts with names over the pockets. There was a cart in one corner where a woman sold hot dogs and sodas. Josh and Pal stopped and stared at the cart. "Why don't we get some lunch?" Josh asked. "We ate lunch, remember?" Dink said, glancing around. "Do you see Joe anywhere?" Ruth Rose asked. Dink shook his head. Not one of the men looked like Josh's sketch. "Let's ask if anyone knows him," Josh said. The kids leaned their skis and poles in a corner and left Pal in charge. They began showing Josh's picture to anyone who wasn't bowling. A few people said Joe looked like someone they'd seen. One woman said Joe resembled her husband George. A man said Joe had a face like a bank robber he'd seen on a most wanted sign at the post office. But no one said they knew Joe. "Well, that was a big waste of time," Josh muttered. On the way out of the basement, the kids passed the hot dog stand. Josh unfolded his drawing. "Have you seen this guy?" he asked the woman. She laughed. "Are you trying to be cute with me, sonny boy?" "What do you mean?" Josh asked. "I mean," the woman said, tapping the drawing with one finger, "this is a picture of you, only older." The kids took a closer look at the sketch. "She's right," Ruth Rose said. "It does look like Josh, except for the mustache." "That's why everyone said this guy looks familiar," Dink said. "He looks just like you." Josh stared at his drawing. "So there is no Joe?" The woman behind the cart had been listening. "Sounds like you've been sent on a wild goose chase," she said. "But why would Dot have us looking for some guy who isn't even real?" Josh asked. "I don't get it." Dink shrugged. "I don't either," he said. "Why don't we ask her? The supermarket is right across the street." Chapter 8. The kids carried their skis across Bridge Lane and into the supermarket. The store was almost empty on this snowy Sunday afternoon. "Look," Dink said, pointing to a small sign taped to the lottery machine. "Closed for the storm. See you tomorrow." Then a teenager walked by. He was carrying a broom and a dustpan. The name tag on his shirt said Eric. "Cool pooch," he said, smiling at Pal. "Do you know if Dot's still here?" Ruth Rose asked. "Nope," the kid said. "She left a while ago all happy. She goes like, 'Merry Christmas, Eric,' and slips me $20. I go like, 'Wow, thanks, Dot.'" Eric walked behind the counter. "What a mess Dot left back here," he mumbled as he began sweeping. Do you know if Dot's boss is around?" Dink said. "Can we talk to him?" Eric crouched down behind the counter. "It's a her, not a him," he said, standing up. "The boss is Mrs. Milk. She's out sick, though. She had the flu all week." "The flu?" Dink said. "But Dot told me she'd talk to—" Suddenly Pal let out a howl. He buried his nose in the pile of dust Eric had swept up. "What did you find?" Josh asked. "Let me have it, boy." Josh pried open Pal's mouth and pulled something out. "Look, guys!" Josh held out a small tinfoil bow tie. Ruth Rose took it from Josh, then pulled the other two out of her pocket. The three were exactly the same. The kids leaned over the counter. The floor was littered with tiny tinfoil bow ties. Suddenly, it all made sense. Dink could tell by the looks on their faces that Josh and Ruth Rose had figured it out too. "Come on," Dink muttered. He grabbed his skis and poles and hurried toward the exit. Josh and Ruth Rose followed with their skis and poles. "Let's go, Pal," Josh told his dog. "Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking?" Ruth Rose asked once they were outside. "Yeah," Dink muttered. "Boy, have we been dopes. Let's go back to Ellie's." They trudged through the snow and piled into the diner. Ellie looked up. "Twice in one day," she said. "3 more hot chocolates?" "Thanks, Ellie," Dink said. The kids slid into a booth while Pal flopped down at their feet. "So Dot Calm is the crook, right?" Josh said. "Right," Dink said. "After Dot sold Hector his ticket, she must have kept the paper he wrote the kids' birthdays on. That's how she knew Lucky's ticket was the winner." "But she didn't know where Lucky lived," Ruth Rose said, "so she had to go to the atrium to find out. She wouldn't want to talk to Hector, so she probably asked someone else where his grandkids lived. She must have dropped a bow tie while she was snooping." "Then she went to Lucky's house and stole the card," Dink added. "And dropped another bow tie in the snow," Josh said. "Then she made up that story about Joe to throw us off her trail," Ruth Rose said. Dink looked at Josh. "I bet she described your face because she was looking right at you when you were drawing him." "Yeah, and I was so dumb I didn't even notice it was me," Josh said. "Here we go, kids." Ellie brought their hot chocolates to the table. "These are on me, and a little treat for Pal." Ellie set a bowl of chopped up hamburger in front of Pal's nose. Pal raised his head, blinked his big brown eyes at Ellie, and stuck his nose in the bowl. "Thanks a lot, Ellie," Josh said. "Pal says thanks, too." Ruth Rose had been sipping her hot chocolate. "You know, guys," she said, "we can't prove Dot stole the tickets. We know she did it, but Officer Fallon will say, 'Where's the proof?'" Dink nodded. "Yeah, that's exactly what he'll say. Unless we find the proof," Josh said, "this sure is going to be a lousy Christmas for Lucky's family. $7 million down the drain." The kids drank their hot chocolate with glum expressions on their face. From beneath the table came the sound of happy chomping. Thank you. Be sure to tune in next week for chapters 9 and 10. Goodbye.